The eighth habit is late-night thinking. Many highly intelligent people report feeling more mentally active during the evening or late at night. Some researchers connect this pattern to evolutionary psychology. The theory suggests that individuals with higher cognitive flexibility are more comfortable adapting to non-traditional routines, including staying awake later. Nighttime also tends to be quieter and less distracting, making it easier for complex thoughts to unfold. For many analytical minds, late-night hours become prime time for reflection and creativity. The ninth habit is observing more than speaking. Highly intelligent people often prefer to watch social dynamics before jumping into conversations. Instead of immediately reacting, they quietly gather information. They notice body language, tone of voice, emotional cues, and subtle patterns in how people interact. Only after processing this information do they respond. This behavior reflects strong pattern recognition, not just with ideas, but also with human behavior. And finally, the 10th habit is a constant search for meaning. High intelligence often brings a deeper awareness of complexity in life. People with analytical minds frequently reflect on big questions. Why do people behave the way they do? How do social systems develop? What gives life meaning? Sometimes this reflection is philosophical. Other times, it's simply a quiet thought that appears in the background of everyday life. A simple curiosity about why things are the way they are. And perhaps this leads to one of the most important insights about intelligence. It isn't just about solving difficult math problems or memorizing information. At its core, intelligence is about curiosity. It's about having a mind that continues exploring, questioning, and connecting patterns. A mind that refuses to accept things at face value, that a mind that keeps trying to understand the incredibly complex puzzle of human nature and the world we live in. The same mental abilities that help solve complicated problems can also lead to analyzing everyday situations very deeply. A simple conversation might be replayed several times in their mind. A small decision might be examined from multiple perspectives. To others, this can look like hesitation or indecisiveness. But internally, the brain is simply exploring many possible outcomes at once. It's like running several simulations in the mind before choosing a path forward. The sixth habit is having a strong sense of humor. This might seem surprising, but humor actually requires complex mental processing. To understand a joke, the brain has to recognize patterns, notice when expectations are broken, and connect ideas that normally don't seem related. All of this requires quick and flexible thinking. Research published in Intelligence Studies has found measurable links between higher intelligence and advanced humor comprehension. In other words, the ability to appreciate clever humor often reflects a highly active and flexible mind. The seventh habit is changing their mind when new evidence appears. For many people, beliefs become tied to identity. Once they adopt an opinion, it can be difficult to let it go, even when new information suggests they should. Highly intelligent individuals often approach beliefs differently. They tend to see ideas as temporary mental models, not permanent truths. When new evidence appears, they update those models. Psychologists call this ability cognitive flexibility, and it's considered a key trait in advanced problem-solving and critical thinking. Now, think about something interesting. Many of these behaviors are often misunderstood. Someone who spends a lot of time alone might appear antisocial. Someone who asks too many questions might seem skeptical or challenging. Someone who changes their mind might appear uncertain. But in many cases, these behaviors are simply signs of deeper thinking patterns. People with high intelligence tend to ask questions about almost everything. Sometimes these questions are big and philosophical, like wondering about human nature or the meaning behind certain social behaviors. But just as often, they're small and practical. Why does this system work the way it does? Why do people react the way they do in certain situations? Why do patterns appear the way they do? Their minds naturally search for explanations. Curiosity becomes the engine that drives their thinking. For highly intelligent people, the world is not just something to experience. It's something to investigate. The third habit might sound unusual, talking to themselves. Psychologists refer to this behavior as self-directed speech. While it might seem strange from the outside, research shows that talking to yourself can actually help improve focus and mental organization. When people verbalize their thoughts, it helps the brain structure ideas more clearly and strengthens working memory. In other words, speaking thoughts out loud can help the mind process complex information more efficiently. So the next time you see someone quietly explaining something to themselves, it might simply mean their brain is actively working through a problem. The fourth habit is being comfortable saying, "I don't know." Many highly intelligent people understand the limits of their knowledge. There's a psychological concept called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which describes how people with limited knowledge about a topic often overestimate their understanding. Ironically, people who are more knowledgeable tend to do the opposite. They recognize how complex the world really is, and they're more likely to admit when they don't have enough information. Instead of pretending to know everything, they remain open to learning. The fifth habit is overthinking small details. An analytical mind rarely turns off. Have you ever noticed that truly intelligent people often don't look the way we imagine they should? When most of us picture someone with a very high IQ, we tend to imagine a person who constantly shows their brilliance, someone who speaks confidently all the time, solves difficult problems instantly, or impresses everyone with their knowledge. But real life doesn't always work that way. In fact, psychological research suggests that many highly intelligent individuals display behaviors that are far more subtle. Their intelligence often reveals itself not through obvious displays of knowledge, but through everyday habits and thinking patterns. According to cognitive psychologists, intelligence isn't just about how much information you store in your brain. It's more about how your mind processes information, how it connects ideas, and how it interprets the world around you. Because of this, people with very high intelligence often develop certain habits that might seem ordinary or even strange to others. Let's explore 10 surprisingly common habits often found in people with very high IQs. The first habit is spending a lot of time alone. Highly intelligent people often enjoy solitude. This doesn't necessarily mean they dislike being around others. Instead, it means their minds are constantly active. When someone with a highly analytical brain gets quiet time alone, their mind begins connecting ideas, reflecting on experiences, and exploring new possibilities. This process largely involves the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, reasoning, and complex thinking. Interestingly, research from the London School of Economics found that individuals with higher intelligence tend to feel less satisfied when they have frequent social interactions compared to others. It's not that they're antisocial. Their brains simply crave time to think, process, and explore ideas without interruption. The second habit is constant curiosity. And often, the most intelligent people aren't the loudest ones in the room. They're the ones quietly thinking, observing, and asking questions that most of us never even consider.